This is Glowing Light Church, and I want to thank you for coming online. And this is our our Sunday morning live service that we are streaming. And we had an awesome 3 days midnight, and this dawn at midnight, it was that powerful. And I'll be testing and blasting the test with regard to the prophetic direction. But of all the services that we patronize in Glowing Light Church, Sunday morning service is the best for me, because I'm able to communicate home the exact understanding that impacted our lives, that was imparted and handed over to me by the many fathers whose hands I have been through. From the hand of Amen Van Jomeku, now Bishop James Oforiata, Reverend Stephen Darcy, and the Archbishop Nicholas Duncan William, above all, Bishop James Sa, who has been a secret mentor. And I thank God for their lives. So the understanding I had that was impacted to me is what I desire badly to impart to people. And one of it is what I want to share with you. And it's a teaching I've entitled The True Courage. The True Courage. Now, I will start by defining what a courage is. Courage is referred to something you possess as an ability to do things that others find threatening. That is courage. What others find to be threatening and they are afraid to do, if you possess the ability to do it, that is courage. So it's a quality that a confident person who is not afraid or intimidated easily without being incautious or inconsiderate possesses. So you can be confident of yourself, but you don't have courage, because it is an elemental ingredient that separates you from the crowd. When you have courage, and it's a true courage, and your courage makes you set you aside to do things that others feel threatened not to do, then you cannot be an ordinary man or woman. It takes unusual courage to go borrow money when you have not even been assured the possible outcome of that business. So if you're a businessman and you're going to make it big, if you're a career woman, you're going to make it through the topmost echelon and be on top and succeed, then you must have a true courage. I am using the adjective true to qualify the now courage, because we have false courages. At the same time, we have evil courage. So you must know, and you must understand that life presents itself on equal time basis, 24 hours, to the educated and to the illiterate, to man and to woman, to a child and to a boy, to a girl and to a woman. But what distinguishes us, having been bought and purchased, brought into the kingdom, is that true courage. It is a secret you must know. It is something you must learn. And it is an understanding you must purchase. You must buy it. It is something. It is a treasure that you must have, because it's going to set you apart, separate you from the crowd, make you a trailblazer and a pathfinder. And at every given point in time, you will know what season it is and what time is it, because you are not afraid. And what intimidates others does not intimidate you. Now, somebody wants to go or is responding to an invitation. The person comes to a birthday party and everybody is seated and is intimidated by the seating arrangement and can't walk right. And that person tends to fall on the arm of alcohol or drug in order to gather himself, have the courage to walk to where it is designated for him to sit. That is why I said there are false courages and there are true courages. However, the distinctive quality of what a true courage is from a false courage is that it is only when a decision is arrived, that is where you will know whether a courage was a true courage or a false courage. So it is this courage, the true courage, that makes a person humble, that makes a person walk in integrity, that makes a person avoiding or eliminating the chances of error and mistakes. Bible said we're going to study a character this morning about true courage, and the character is Moses. Bible said in Numbers chapter 12 verse 3 that now the man Moses was very meek, gentle, kind, and humble. So to be meek means gentle, kind, and humble, or above all the men on the face of the earth. This is God's personal testimony about Moses, that in his days, when Moses was alive, every man on the face of the earth, Moses had meekness. Above all, including the Medes and the Egyptians, the pharaohs. This is God's testimony about him. How did Moses arrive at this distinguished testimony from God about him? Don't forget, as humble as he was able in all respect to write or to do miracles that are mind-blowing. Moses single-handedly will have to engineer, by the leading of God, the deliverance of the children of Israel. So it's an ability you must have. Then also organize them into a nation without setting out a council. He also parted the Red Sea, fed them with manna, prayed for quail, brought water out of a rock. You cannot be humble and not produce result. Meekness is a quality that produces distinction or distinctive results. It is not always being confident of yourself, conceit in yourself and your ability that makes you the best. Bible said, I, the Lord, I oppose, I reject, I resist the proud, but the humble, the meek, I give them grace. So here, the true courage is a form of grace I call the greater grace that you must have, because grace comes to us in levels. Comes to us in levels. Irrespective of how assertive you are about situations, it really doesn't matter until these elements through courage is manifested in your life. So I'm going to take you through what attracts God, and he gives that grace. In Psalm 25 verse 9, Bible said, the meek will he guide in judgment, not the qualified, not the intellectual, not the professor, not the proud, not those who hold out themselves confident of their wisdom or their possession or their ability, but the meek. So meekness attracts God unconsciously, brings God to you, gives you God himself. So Bible said the meek will he guide, not he will send direction or give instruction. He comes to guide. God comes himself to guide the meek. So brother, you are not a fool if you consider yourself not taking vengeance into your hand. If you consider yourself kind-hearted and generous, you are not a fool. You are the best man on the face of the earth. So I'm going to take another scripture again. Psalm 37 verse 11. Psalm 37 verse 11. The Amplified Version. But the meek in the end shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. So at the end of every contention and fight, meekness brings you out victorious. You know how to talk. You could have taken the matter to court. You could have sued them for traumatizing you and character assassinating you. You have every evidence, recordings and documents on them that you could have taken to the media or bloggers, and yet you decided to choose God above them. It does not make you a fool. You are the wisest. You are the wisest. So Bible said, but the meek in the end of the race. I don't know what kind of race you are confronted with, but Bible said the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor bread and riches to men of skill and understanding, but it is time and chance that happens to all. And above all, it is God that showeth mercy. So your meekness puts you on the recipient's list of God to receive mercy. So what is mercy? Exemption from judgment. Because of your meekness, because your brothers and sisters thought you are not smart enough, they are smart enough. But today, you that they thought you are dull and you are not smart, God has elevated you. God has given you grace. That is the way it works. So meekness is not a weakness. Meekness does not make you a weakling. Meekness does not make you foolish. Meekness puts you and brings you out victorious at the end of the contention and at the end of the fight. You see, when two boxers are in the ring of equal weight, be it bantam or heavyweight, the one that observes and fights by the rule and adheres to the instruction of the referee is likely to emerge as a champion. But the one that adopts all kinds of tricks, head battling and bunching below the belt, eventually they will be deducting points from what he has already acquired. And that is how the person who decided to be gentle, play by the rule, emerges as a victorious. So the meek in the end shall inherit the earth. The earth is your inheritance. Asasia, asasiru abeba, abefa yako. Edi asase fufuro aba, esuro fufuro, emu nhyira. Bible says wana omu wa ehu brase, omu na asase no dia fufuro no beba no. Eyo omu dia. Then he said, he shall delight themselves, or they shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. And then the whole of next week uni asumje. One day asumje penawa. There can in trouble. Bible said if you have, that is what happened. Psalm 76 verse 7 or 6. You, even you, are to be feared with awe and reverence, who may stand in your presence when once your anger is roused. When God is angry and God is wroth in anger, look at the next verse. You cause sentence to be heard from heaven. The earth feared and was still. But verse 9 says, when God arose to establish judgment, to save all the meek and oppressed of the earth. So you see, even in his anger, the anger of God, he does not touch the meek. He does not bring judgment against the meek. So that brother is wrong. That sister is wrong. That business partner cheated you. That man took for granted your labor. But in any case, you contributed to what he did to you. But because of your meekness, you apologize. You went to people to apologize to him. He refused to let out the matter and to let the matter be. Please, you have done your part. That is meekness. So I'm just embellishing the whole idea for you to understand that whichever direction you want to have it from, whichever direction you want to approach it from, our God is able. Bible said God will have to reveal this secret to a young man by name Joshua that hung and walked around. Can I have a bottle of water? And hung around Moses. He was so blessed to be part of Moses. Give me. It's okay. He was so blessed to be part of Moses. And the matter was such that when Moses had departed, God will have to teach the young man the success method. How to walk with him, God. How not to attract his anger. Because the office of Moses was more of intercession than accuser. Was more of them jinafuo, any difuo than a accusation. And therefore, the only strength that can continue to sustain the deliverance and the blessing of the people is he, God. If the man chosen between them do not know how to go about God, even when God is angry, then the people can be destroyed. In leadership position, the person must have courage. The courage to stand by the right decision. Other than that, you divide your house, divide your company, divide people in that office. You need courage. So you must understand what courage is. You need what? Courage. And then understand what courage is. Tell the pastors I'm okay. So God told Joshua in Joshua chapter 1 verse 6, be strong, confident. So confident is types and kinds of strength. But when the strength or the confidence lack courage, it cannot produce anything. And of good courage, you see it? Good courage. For you shall cause these people to inherit the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. The decision to take as a leader, as coming from God, you're not just going to have confidence, but you must have courage. You must look at the face of the men of Judah and the men of Gilead, whose faces are like lion. Tell them this is your Lord, and not shake. It takes courage to tell your son you cannot have that car. It takes courage to tell your son, if you want to be a pastor, go and serve in ushering department. It takes courage to tell your wife, this is what I earn, and we are going to live by this means. It takes courage to trust somebody with your heart. It takes courage to let out yourself to flow to others. It takes courage to take a decision and stand by it when the factors around and the statistics are contrary. It takes courage, because if you don't have courage, every decision you take, in the next moment you will change it. So verse 7 said, only you be strong and very courageous. You see, God has repeated it here. You have seen Moses, and the people have accepted you as a follower and an associate of Moses. That is confidence. But you need courage. Be very courageous. Brother, listen to me. Sister, listen to me. To meet a man who is in a single room, had only mattress, and yet put your life into the hand of that man, it takes courage. It is not confident. It takes courage. It's a decision you must stand by. Because there is no help going to come from anywhere. And yet you decided to put your life and to spend the rest of your life with him. And your starting point is not even a bed, a mattress, in a single room. What the future holds, you have no idea. So it takes courage. Today, we have young men and women that are desiring the things of the world, prosperity and the luxuries of life, the comfort of life, but they are not courageous to begin from ground zero. They lack the courage. As a matter of fact, they don't even believe the things they hear. Only you be strong and very courageous, that you may do according to all the law. So you see, it takes courage to do. It does not take smartness. It does not take working smart. The courage to do the right thing, stand by the right decision. is the distinction, is the distincting factor, is the distinguishing factor. It is the mesh that separates the chaff from the wheat. You must have it, because there are all kinds of food chain. We have lower food chain, we have medium food chain, we have high food chain. Bill Gates is located on the utmost highest food chain. If he wants to buy Bugatti, whatever he wants today, private jet, he can buy. He can do it. And the circle is operating from the food chain there is different. If you live by the bank of a river and it is a farming community, then your food chain begins with plank or plankton. So the fingerling of a tilapia feeds on planktons and then grows, and you feed on tilapia and get cassava. That is your food chain. But if you relocate out of that farming community located by the riverside to Accra, your food chain, the lowest is not plankton. You're going to have cheese, you're going to have mutton or chicken and cheese in what I call, what's the name, pizza. So you realize that the building block of the fundamental unit that begins the food chain is different. The quality is different. But to move from that farming community located by the riverside to the city is a decision. When you take that decision and you don't have courage, because nobody is in Accra for you to come and dwell by. But you want to live there. You just want to leave the village. I declare your destiny will change forever. Sometimes it looks so impossible and threatening to walk away from the luxuries of life when it is predicated on, built on the promises of men. But you must be courageous. You must be courageous. So he said to Joshua, may do according to all that the law which Moses my servant commanded you. Turn not from it. You see, Moses handed down to Joshua the success method to succeed in his office. Today, we work for people, associate with people, work with people. They tell you the contrary. They will not tell you the secret of their success. They want you to remain at the foot, never to be the head. But Bible said, you shall be the head and not the tail. So you see, deception will abound. You need courage. Moses preferred to hand over the success story, the success method to Joshua. He was not afraid. At the time Moses was called to die, Moses had sons, Gershon and the others. But Moses did not tell God, choose my son Gershon. Selfless. Until you are selfless, until you rule out greed, selfish out of your life, you will not matter to your generation. You will never be courageous, because a timid and a fearful person is never courageous. I don't know how you're taking it, but it is the truth. And it is what it is. Then he said, you may prosper wherever you go. So you see, If he goes back to Egypt, he will succeed. If he goes back to the desert, he will succeed. Bible said, if you have the courage to do the right thing, wherever you go, you will succeed. But if you lack the courage, you cannot succeed. You cannot what? Succeed. Then, in verse 8, God came back again and said, this book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, that you may observe and do according to all that is written in it. For then you shall make your way prosperous. So, you have knowledge. You have skill. If you lack the courage to take a decision and to stand by the decision, I can predict accurately your end. We're going to take two characters to dig further into Moses' sources. Matthew chapter 7 verse 24. Look at it. The Bible said, so everyone who hears these words of mine and acts upon them. So you see, there are a lot of people in a class of 40 as a teacher. After teaching and you set a question, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gets it right. Others get 1 or 2 wrong or 3 wrong, and they have to do what we call correction. And you must repeat it as a teacher so that you can have at least 3/4 of the class understanding it. But unfortunately, it is not so with preaching. We preach, we don't set questions. So we don't know how many actually are going to apply what they heard. That is why sometimes you have to be repetitive in the things you teach until you get the right feedback. So everyone who hears these words of mine and acts upon them, obeying them, will be like a sensible, prudent, practical, wise man. Sensible, practical, prudent, wise man, who built his house upon the rock. Still, that is where the thing is. Then the next verse said, and the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat against that house. So you see, it did not build against the builder of the house, but what was built, what the decision brought into being, will be tested by time. That is why you need courage. Child of God, one of the difficult things in doing live broadcasts is the fact that I can't see your face. Because preaching is social interactive. So say something on the, and when you come on online, to encourage us to know that we're doing the right thing with you. God bless you. So you see, Bible said the rain fell. Now, that man chose a rocky area, not a sandy place to build. Because on the rock, to take a decision to build on the rock, you need courage. So the Bible said the rain fell. The man on the rock doesn't need rain. You know why? Because there is no soil there for him to do a garden. So the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew, not the wind alone, winds blew, and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall because it had been founded on the rock. But look at another man. This is where the message is. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them will be like a stupid fool. I didn't say it. So we are going to see it. We are going to see what really the courage is. Bible says a stupid, foolish man. I wish I can get an English equivalent word to add to the word foolish. A stupid, foolish man who built his house upon the sand. The next verse, and the rain fell. It's obvious. And the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against the house, and it fell. And great and complete was the fall. You see, this fall was not a simple fall. Praise God. But you see, the sad thing here is this. I'm going to do the comparison for you to see. Now, the wind, the rain, the storm did not come against the builders of both houses, but it came against the product of their decisions. So if the decisions you are taking cannot stand the stress of affliction, the bad days and the bad times in which we are, cannot outlive you, when the storm comes and when the flood came or comes, then you did not build. You wasted time. So you need courage. Now look at it. The man building on the rock, when he started the decision, digging the foundation, it was as if the hour hand of the clock was moving faster ahead of him. And the man building on the sand, within a year, had finished building. But the man on the rock, everything was slow. Society and the dynamism, the factors that he was depending on to bring himself a power and leverage as a builder, as a successful man that is doing the wise thing, was against him. Time was against him. People's perception was against him. People's understanding of what he was doing was contrary to his decision. But he was courageous enough to continue digging when the time was going, when everything was against him. But the man that built on the rock, on the sand, he was not courageous. So he chose the easy path. Now you see, if Jonah had remained in the ship, he would have perished with the people. But when he said, throw me into the sea, a whale received him. When you have God in you, when you hear God, that is eternal life. No matter how contradicting the path is, be courageous, stand with it. Brother, if you fall from a mountain, you don't fall on another mountain. You fall in a valley. But those who rise up from the valley back to the mountaintop, they are men. Kwa waya Salome, no way you know. Waya sabe? No waya mother. There is different. There's a big difference between a girl and a woman. And there's a big difference between a wife and a woman. There is a bigger difference between a wife and a grandmother. A grandmother has succeeded and has carefully helped and nurtured another generation and begin to see the next generation. It's not an easy task. It takes courage. It takes courage to have only a spoon and yet decided as the spoon you have to fill a bucket, to have a bucket of water. It takes courage. Only those who are courageous considers the little they have as much and are content with it. When I hear people, my colleagues that are finished MPhil with, MBA with, masters with, doctorate, PhD, are in multinational company, perhaps on your way to the office, you could have been amputated after an accident. And the end of those colleagues is not the same appointed unto you. Please, be courageous. Be content with what you have. Paul says something. The man that built on the rock, everything was against him. Today, we young pastors that seemingly by default, otherwise the will of God, that have come from the loins of great men of God, that have made name and have works for God. We are not patient enough. We want crowd overnight. We want luxury cars overnight. We want luxury homes overnight. This is why we have gone to places, made covenant and sold our souls to the devil. But the sad thing is that it is not only you that will be destroyed, but the people you are laying hand on. Yaka untienu debi na behu. Ka wie no nu obana ka onyimbe. Uwi brefodia uye boy. Na uwi mokodia uwini mbeso wa. It is only at the end of the race that you know that you have partnered with Satan, the wrong business. You have to be courageous. And you cannot serve in the office of a pastor without being tagged or persecuted. Some will say many things about you. Some will say you love money. Some will say your weakness is a woman or women. Some will say you are proud. They will contradict you. The very people you labor for will be against you, will raise objection. But understand this. Even the one that puts you in that office, Jesus himself was called that he cast out devils by the prince of the air, Beelzebub. And others say because he ate with tax collectors and allowed a prostitute to touch him, he is unclean. And yet the very Pharisees and the Sadducees could not cast out the devil and could not heal the blind or heal the sick. You see, it takes unusual courage to stand by what God gave you. Brother, o yiri nufo aya flat supporting enumanasa. It takes courage. Ukwaye mre mufiti asiye no nye mre no bojuma ene be courageous and sit somewhere with Rob. Shawuye na wewe jiwa ye juma wo de mofra be wiase ensai wawari ense obi asebere. Paul said in Romans chapter 8 verse 35, he said, Niamehui amania to me. Esan sa Messiah Yesu. Me do kanina me wo me rade. E den ya na betimi agie fi me nsam. Etimi afi Yesu ho. Sika na ahonya. Ana wiasimu ejapade. Wiasim temu akọ. Bibi biare temu akọ. Wan kasa so betem. So Romans chapter 8 verse 35 was it. Who shall ever separate us from Christ's love? Oh my goodness. Shall suffering. Hey, today when you pray for 1 year, you don't get husband. Then you go fall into the arm of an unbeliever. Hey, sister, shall we come back on track? Ujina Yesu enim dachia yembisa osade ntina wan ware. Preso ahimem nako. Awaria ya surplus. Ebeba eye ni onyam odibema udi 70 kura ubeyi ubaware 5 years pen wako. Shall suffering and affliction and tribulation? No. Or calamity and distress, or persecution, or hunger, or destitution, or peril, or sword. Even as it is written, for thy sake. Wow. Nipa dasanintina Paul Obre. Said your bekanyamia semachro. Eka onunkwa we hu Yesu. Owunne obekosro ahimem. But see, for it is written, for thy sake we are put to death. All day long we are regarded and counted as sheep for the slaughter. Verse 37. Yet amid all these things we are more than conquerors and gain a surpassing victory through him who loved us. Hey, somebody say monkey no fire, but he more than like him. Obia criticizing into us if I any unyoma any will be beer for touching. Never no. Let me give you another scripture, then I conclude. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 7. However, we possess this precious treasure, the divine light of the gospel in frail humanity, vessels of earth, that the grandeur and exceeding greatness of the power may be shown to be from God and not from ourselves. Nyaminti enka mi menka gospel menye failure ma wufu oni ska mo de mbeko school but kitu amu ye me fan crofo sem we degree Yaminti. Some mekaja me some. Se wa suma minti na meka. Nyamina wa suma me on come di me da. Hear me. Na masre ansa na me yere ne me maadi. Enti wo ye bone a na se nya meka kire wo. Se lorry kwan na me drive so wo ayawudi a and they fold it. Me pack car. Obotoe. Then he said, we are hedged in, pressed on every side, troubled and oppressed in every way, but not cramped or crushed. We suffer embarrassment and are perplexed and unable to find a way out, but not driven to despair. We are pursued, persecuted, and hard driven, but not deserted. To stand alone, we are struck down to the ground, but never struck out and destroyed. Always carrying in the body the liability and exposure to the same putting to death that the Lord Jesus suffered, so that the resurrection life of Jesus also may be shown forth by and in our bodies. So listen to me. If you don't build courage, you don't stand by courage, stand by the decision you have made, and you hurriedly, out of fear, greed leads you away from God, and you take wandering decisions and unstable in the mind and heart, you will pierce yourself with sorrow. You will get to the pinnacle of life, and everything you believe in will fall apart. First Timothy chapter 6 from verse 10 to 12, amplified. Sorry I bored you. Verse 10. For the love of money has separated you from the church. Unless the man that built on the rock will have to put in more money, more effort and time. But the man that built on the sand, as soon as he hears that there is money here, he jumps there. Opentem. So Bible said, for the love of money is a root, not roots. One root. Of all evils. So just one root. It is through this craving that some have been led astray and have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves through with many acute mental pangs. Oda. Oda student mattress so ba wishem kura. Obida king size. Air condition, a bonu, pa, want to mean kataneni. Nyami Israel. Bema, stand by your decision. They don't know which car to use. You don't even have a car. But you're happy. Your wife is happy. Your children are happy. But he who has the cars, the children are sorrowful. They have been to schools. They don't have certificate to prove. You have paid expensive school fees. But your children, Ukoya now buy. Ukoya now buy. You have one fame for yourself, everything for yourself, and everything around you is not synchronizing with what you believe. Because you lack the courage to lift up the rod of correction against that boy, against that girl, to tell your fellow son, your fellow man, with all respect, you are wrong, but I don't hold it against you. And you walked away with bitterness in your heart. And now, courage. Led astray and have wandered from the faith, pierced themselves through with many acute mental pangs. Verse 11. But as for you, oh man of God, man of God, man of God, man of God, thank God it is not preacher. Man of God means woman of God. Oh, Christoni. Or she flee from all these things. Hey, to America. Or she, hey, who go bank? To America fi bank. Fast can you bring me? Aim at and pursue righteousness, right standing with God, and true goodness, godliness, which is the loving fear of God, and being Christ-like, faith, love, steadfastness, patience, and gentleness of heart. Fight the good fight of faith. So you see, after the decision is made, you must be courageous. Fight the factors that point to the decision that it is wrong. Hey, makonyenya nedela, makonyenya na mau, ye makuo, mano agbe, ye makuo, mano agbe. Fight a good fight. Many are afraid to fight to defend the decision that they have made. They lack the courage. They lack what? The courage. Fight a good fight. Lay hold of the eternal life to which you were summoned, and for which you confess the good confession of it before many witnesses. Even if you don't have the courage to defend your status as a Christian, you will lose your salvation. You will lose your salvation. Finally, Proverbs chapter 4, verse 18. uncompromisingly just and righteous is like the light of dawn that shines more and more, brighter and clearer, until it reaches its full strength and glory in that perfect day to be prepared. Go slow, but with godliness is profitable than finish quick and end in the wrong track. The Lord bless you. The Lord shield you. The Lord protect you. Amen. See you in the evening, 6 p.m. We love you. Give yourself a hug. Mwah. Bye-bye.
I'll put you in front of my melody. You are all that matters. You are all that matters. I'll make room for two. You and I, Jesus. You are all that matters. You are all that matters. Oh, way, oh, way. You are all that matters. Oh, way, oh, way. You are all that matters. Oh, way, oh, way. You are all that matters. Oh, way, oh, way. And I know
What would I live for if I don't have you?
If I don't have you, Lord,
what would I gain if you take the Holy Ghost?